correction down there. So was that our little sell-off to take, pull back in the market? I don't know. But just going off the E-minis, the strength has been there. We're now positive fairly strongly for the day, up about 43 basis points. The NASDAQ's down a little bit, down 21 basis points. But it was really funny this morning. In fact, it's a long time. I've no empirical evidence, but I don't ever remember. We had the Dow up strong this morning, up 150 basis points, 160 basis points, and the NASDAQ was down fairly strong. You can't see. Is it not sharing? Oh, okay. Hey, Manny. Okay. I don't know if anybody could see. I know Philly couldn't see the screen. Okay, good. So anyway, again, we're strongly into yesterday's range. So the E-minis, it just looks like we're just took a little bit of a break. The NASDAQ, a little bit different view. It shows a little bit more weakness, but now if you take the lows of yesterday's range, we're into that. In fact, we're probably into or right at the value area from yesterday's lows value area. So let's say how that acts. If it could get into there, this thing is it looks like it just wants to catapult higher. Again, just so much strength in this market. It's just really great. I just thought this morning we may see a little bit of a rotation, but that was just so quick. And I'm going to go into a little bit later, showing some of the discretionaries and how the anti-chip sell-off this morning just didn't hold much water. Getting into the Russell, it found a nice bounce today. As I was saying, it showed a little bit of lagging the last couple of days, but had a nice rally today. We are at the switching to a day chart. We're at the all-time highs. So it's, this thing is ready to go. The E-minis are at their all-time high. The NASDAQ, a little bit of a pullback, but it's at its all-time high. So market continues to show strength. Again, with the Russell, we're just kind of range bound here. Going to a 30-minute chart. We're easily in a longer term distribution. And by distribution, this is a balanced distribution. You got lows on both sides, both extremes, with a high in the middle. I hope everybody can see that. This is just a traditional bell curve. So there we go. It's just waiting for a breakout one way or another. The way the strength is in this market, it looks like it's going to go higher. There may be some slight resistance at the 29.44 area. And that's just because of this very high volume area that it was rejected to, couldn't get there that day. So it looks like, and my favorite, as everybody knows, my favorite question is, what's the market trying to do? Go higher. The E-minis looks like it wants to go higher. It has to get to that line. I made a point yesterday, going back to the E-minis. I drew a migrational distribution. We had this move up, and I mentioned this yesterday, is there was a high volume area that I thought was going to be, it's going to be relevant. I said it's because of these days, and I thought that the people that were buying here, that pushed the market higher, that the demand that was here is possibly going to play into today. Taking that out, prices came down right to that level and shot out. So these high volume areas, for those who don't use volume profile a lot, you see this, especially in these migrational moves higher. They're not necessarily distributions, but these high volume areas of demand or supply become relevant. Here's another one, and I kind of watch them to see how prices react, and kind of pull back down there. But is this area going to cause some resistance? I don't know. You get above that, you got this 76, 24, 50 area, and this is also a high volume area that markets pull back from. I don't think there was much to it. I think this was the tell today. Markets coming down here, and as soon as it started breaking higher, this was kind of a low risk trade. But again, this tell off this high volume, it just showed that demand was there. So for the traders, like I said, that was an easy tell, especially if we broke above the first half hour of this morning's trading. Gold actually found a little bit of a bid this morning. It's pulled back and it's kind of in its balance area. So, volume, the value area is relatively speaking higher than yesterday's, but we're kind of stuck. You could probably you could put a volume profile, and it's kind of the same thing. This is a traditional mature bell curve, high and lows at the end. So just kind of watch this. You're not going to really see a break until you get over the 4630 level, or start trading below consistently and accepted between the 4462. And that's the whole thing, is once they get outside these ranges, don't just buy them just because they break or sell them because they break lower. You got to wait for acceptance. But this is I just want to illustrate, this is pretty much a mature bell curve, and usually after that is when they start getting a break one way or another. Crude, it's obviously the big commodity right now. Prices fell this morning because of the ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon. That helped the market. It actually put a little bit more bids underneath the market, with crude going lower. So again, it was a non-chip rally. So we're kind of stuck in this longer term high volume area that I've been talking about. Again, this is another, just like gold, probably more dramatic as far as high volume in the middle, lows on both sides. This is a traditional bell curve. Wait for the breaks above, as the 2 points, 80, roughly the 80.79 area and the 104.5 area. That's going to be the areas to watch. But until then, revert to the mean trade. Nothing going on, just going back and forth. It's a little tougher, but if that's the personality of the market, just use it. Use it to your advantage. The bonds got a little bit of a bid this morning, a little bit easing of the interest rates. That possibly helps. But I wanted to show, before I go much further, before I forget, a little thing that is possibly concerning the market. I was running a trade, I ran a daily chart of MasterCard, and it kind of works for Visa also. And when you add the S&P to this, something interesting started to happen. I kind of was looking at this time period, and if you kind of focus in on this area, you've got MasterCard selling off, plus as the market, the blue is the S&P 500. The market continues, so that we had a little bit of an issue as far as they weren't working together. Prices ran up, and since then pretty much have gone the same way, but we've got a huge disparity here. we got the market really running, and you got MasterCard really selling off. When this happened, we had I think it was roughly a 23% sell-off in the S&P 500 as MasterCard start going down. Watch this. If this thing plays out, is a precursor. When it gets this extreme, and this is an anomaly. Usually, this is actually kind of a pretty good pairs trade for anybody that does that. Selling the S&P and buying the MasterCard be a good pairs trade. But anyway, with that going on, that may be just a little bit of a concern for the market. I want to take a look at a couple of the ETFs as tech, just screaming. Let me get this out of here. When you take a look at that, it's really not a lot, but you could just see in the XLK, prices are now trading in the range of yesterday's low. So again, it just validates everything about the, it's not necessarily what happens, it's the reaction to what happens. And, for the traders that are fairly new, even though the value area is lower than yesterday, you've got to watch the constant moving higher. And now if we start getting acceptance in here, this also looks like it's going to go higher. On the other end of it, you've got discretionary, and it's kind of the opposite. And slightly gapped higher this morning, but almost immediately. Let me see if you can see a little bit better in here. And value area is still higher, but we're still now starting to get. We're in yesterday's range. So, if we kind of go into the value area, it just says to me there's continued weakness in the marketplace. So, hopefully we get a little bit of a balance area in there. Financials took a little bit of a bounce today. JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, they're all up fairly big this morning, holding their prices. They really haven't seen much action, as you can see. We're still in this kind of high balance area, or high volume area, excuse me. But watch this area. XLE, same thing. It's pretty much, the energy stocks, they're really not doing much. We're going into, still in the high volume area that I mentioned yesterday for this high balance area that we ran into from industrials. I wanted to switch because it's going a little bit longer. I wanted to go to show you some of the chips, since we were talking about that a lot today. The chip industry, NVIDIA, this is the big leader. It opened up lower and immediately went into, in fact, is above yesterday's value area. And it looks like it wants to go a little bit higher today, but it's, as we've been talking about, it's just been really going sideways. AMD, this is another one. It's in yesterday's range. It's starting to flirt with the value area of yesterday. And I keep referring to that, for someone who doesn't know, the value area for yesterday and why that's important. If they find value, this is 68% of the trades are in this area. If prices, it looks, right now it kind of crossed in and rejected. If we could start getting in here, these act as magnets, but it also could act as a repellent. So these areas act as support and resistance. So watch how they act here. If these things pull back, we may have a little bit more selling today. Qualcomm, same thing. Value area is lower, but we're in yesterday's range, and it's kind of the theme. We're not into yesterday's value area, but we're into yesterday's range. Micron, not nearly as strong. What's the next one? Avago. This is obviously the weak one. This is the one that came out with negative earnings. They tried to rally. It looks like they're having a little bit difficult time. If we get below the 414.68 area, which is the highest right now of the value. It looks like it may start wanting to rotate back. Watch this price. If it does this, it may start pulling the semis down. And the last one I want to talk about is Intel. And Intel, pretty much the same thing. It's a little bit stronger. It's into yesterday's value, but that is about it. You know, the whole theme today is we started out without the chip rally. They came back on board with some buying. So traders are still pushing that. Let's see if they can continue that, or if they start rolling over. So watch some of these stocks, how they react to yesterday's value area. May give us a little bit of a hint. The AMDs of the world, it looks like they want to go higher. And again, watch Eval starting to get a little bit of selling pressure. But watch that again, that 414, 415 area. If we get into that, we may start rotating all the way down towards the lows. And if they start going down to the lows, it will bring everybody else. But anyway, guys, thank you very much. I hope brought a little bit different insight or a little bit different view of the market. And I brought some value. So anyway, everybody have a good day. Good luck trading. Thank you.